Biloxi, Gulfport, and Pascagoula spend a lot of taxpayer dollars on communications. In Pascagoula, the city has 57 cell phones in use at a cost of about $3,200 a month in a contract with C Spire. Biloxi has a total of 180 phones and spends $7,700 a month. The contracts are with C Spire and Southern Link. Gulfport has 157 cell phones, spends about $5,100 a month in a contract with C Spire. Requesting information from Pascagoula required little effort. The city supplied all the information requested, the actual contracts, the monthly bills, and a list of every employee with a cell phone and the numbers. Joe Huffman is the city manager.
We work for the citizens. This is public information. I don't think we have a choice. I think that if we were reluctant to give the information out, we should still do it, just because it isn't. These cell phones don't belong to Joe Huffman or any other employee. These are city-issued cell phones. They're public property, and I think any material that support or data that supports their usage should be provided.
What the city doesn't have is a policy regarding the personal use of those city cell phones. That could change soon.
We probably do need to have some sort of policy in place. I've talked to our Human Resources Director about that. I will tell you that I think if you're a value-driven organization, and I think we are, you try to hire responsible people. I think the same can be said of telephones in offices. People can abuse that. They can call home on those phones as well.
In Biloxi, the city provided most of the same records, but blacked out the actual numbers on the advice of the city attorney. The city's public affairs manager explained why.
We think it would compromise our ability to do our job for the citizens of Biloxi. We can have cases where citizens would call the bomb squad directly to report a suspicious device. We can have a case where the public would be calling a police officer directly. He could be off duty. We can have a case where somebody calls the pothole guy to say, how come you're not fixing the pothole in front of my house?
Even with those concerns, is the information a public record?
This is akin to saying, well, the police cars are paid for with public money, so I should be able to drive a police car. I mean, is that where we're headed with this? The city has city bank accounts that have public money in them. So should we give everyone the bank account numbers?
Creel did point out that important public information numbers are prominent on the city's website. Gulfport has a similar policy. Our first verbal request for cell phone records was met with this answer.
I can just tell you how the city feels, from a public safety standpoint. We're choosing now not to release all the numbers on that list.
The city did provide records showing basic information, including a policy about personal use. After a second written request, city officials changed their minds and did provide names and numbers, with the exception of numbers used by police officers. LaFontaine says the city doesn't really feel the need to disclose the numbers because citizens can call 311 for just about any problem.
An operator in our call center picks up the phone, they can file a complaint, they can make a suggestion, offer ideas. If they have, if they run across a pothole that needs fill, they can let us know that.
The laws governing the release of public information have changed and evolved over the years. Now, since cell phones are a relatively new phenomenon, what are the rules and regulations regarding the release of that public information? Well, I consulted a First Amendment and public information expert in the legal field to find out. That expert is Gulfport attorney Henry Laird. On his desk, a book about public records law.
Cell phone records are not exempt, and therefore, if somebody asks for those records, they should get them. Unless the governing authority can articulate some specific exemption, and there is no exemption for cell phone records, then the city or the local governing authority should turn those over to the party requesting them.
Laird, though, is not surprised by the reluctance to turn over the records.
These are the people's records, and sometimes, and again, I don't know the basis for not making full disclosure, but if there's not an articulated exemption, it's disappointing that any governing authority would not give the requesting party access to everything requested.